Welcome to Monday Motivation. Now, this podcast is not going to be long enough to even get you to work, but it will give you a lot to work on, because the most important thing you can work on in life is yourself. Welcome back to Monday Motivation. My good friend, inventor, entrepreneur, adventure lover, Karl Guthrie, back with us and continuing the conversation because last time, Karl, I loved the journey of I invented this, it wasn't that great, and then I tried something else, and then the big reveal was, wait a minute, these aren't my ideas. This isn't, accident. This isn't chance. This isn't just I'm lucky. God's been guiding me all the way. I think something else you said last time that was really important for everybody to remember is there's always going to be people that talk negatively about your journey and your climb. So it doesn't matter what you do. You can sit at home and people will criticize you. You can go out and do everything you did, and you still had people who were negative, cynical, critical, but you kept climbing. So where I want to start today is your three favorite rock climbing adventures, because you've been all over the world, my friend, and we don't have time to cover all that, but the three best rock climbing adventures you've had.
Well, I've had some great ones. I had some epic ones too. I guess I'll do two good ones and one epic one.
Perfect.
So we'll start with the epic. Yeah, it was years ago. I was living in California, and I was with my climbing partner, and we went up to Tahoe called Lover's Leap. And we decided to go up there. It was like January, February. We decided to go up there and get on this route. And it was probably about 400 feet tall. And we get up about halfway. The clouds started rolling in before we started, but we're going to go for it. And then they just started really coming in fast in the wind. And then the snow hit. And we were halfway up this thing, and then a snowstorm hit. And it started dumping big old snowflakes. So we're in the middle of this wall, and it's just almost blizzard, wind blowing, snow hitting us in the face. But we ended up climbing up, but it was really slow. But we didn't have very warm jackets, and it was it took us about 2 hours longer to get up that thing while we were freezing.
Wow!
But it was pretty epic.
Wow!
Because
man, just to even think about that. The stress, the tension, that storm coming up unexpected.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I was impressed that I survived 5 days without power when the ice hit Austin a few weeks ago. And man, you're on the side of a mountain with the storm.
probably the worst part is that, so just when you get to the top of the rock, right, you either got to rappel down the ropes to the ground, to the base of the rock, or you have to hike off. Right. So normally you always try to hike off because rappelling is like the most dangerous part about rock climbing.
Okay.
Most rock climbing accidents happen on rappel. That's when you descend down the rope.
Well, there's another lesson. That'll be a whole nother season, but going down's a lot more dangerous.
We had to hike the climber trail down, but there was like a foot of snow, and it was pretty treacherous.
Wow. Okay. So that's definitely epic.
It was epic.
Lover's Leap Tahoe. So
it all went away, and everything was great when we got down to the bar and started having some beers. So at that point, actually, we got down and we started laughing about it, and it's just,
wow.
crazy doing that.
So what were the other two?
So one, of course, was the Half Dome.
Okay.
I always wanted to do
that.
Half Dome. I tried it when I was younger, and then I had a friend had an accident, and that was pretty epic. I don't want to go into that because I don't think people want to hear about that, but. Climbing with my good friend, doing that, and there's a thing on Half Dome, and if you look up online, it's called Thank God Ledge, and the reason why it's called that is when the first, I think it was Royal Robinson, one of the first people that climbed the route got up, and then if you look at Half Dome, at the very top, there's a giant overhang. It's like a big bird beak. It comes out like 200 feet, and there's this massive overhang, and there's no way to get over that part. And so, but there's this ledge it starts out maybe about this wide, right? And the wall's probably, at an angle like this. So you got this ledge, and so you're traversing the wall like this, and it's like 70 or 80 feet long, but it kind of goes around a corner, right? And the ledge, as you get to that corner, the wall starts to invert out, right? So
Wow.
it goes a little overhanging. So no longer you can do this. And then the ledge gets down to about like this, right? So you get to a certain point, and then you got to get down, and there's a
Harder.
crack where you put in your gear, but so you got to grab the ledge, get down like this, and then you got to hand over hand around the corner, and then you got to mantle back up and then finish the ledge, right? And because this ledge was there, they were able to get around this big overhang and get to the top, and that's why they call it Thank God Ledge. Because the ledge wasn't there, we would have had to pound little holes and drill bolts.
What an interesting name for rock climbers to give something.
And
Thank God Ledge.
It's like, it's not hard, but you're 25 feet, you're about 2,000 feet up, and there's no ledges below you. So it's like the sheerest part, and it is literally 2,000 feet straight down with no ledges, trees, anything like you could think kind of.
Something.
It's like being on the tallest building in the world and on the ledge of a window, and you're looking straight down. And then, of course, that's at, the base.
Yeah.
And then, as you've been to Half Dome, there's the mountain it sits on top. So there's another 4,000 feet that goes like this down to the valley floor. So you look like you're, 6,000, 7,000 feet off the ground as you're doing it straight down.
Wow.
And it's like every climber, who's a legit climber, you got to go and traverse Thank God Ledge. It's just like a must, bucket list thing. You have to do this. Okay, so yeah, so this one's crazy. So I'm in Kenya, right, and I'm on a climbing trip. So over there's a lot of climbers. Local climbers, a big climbing club. So I'm with these climbers, and I have this car, and we decide. I don't know. Have you ever been to Nairobi, Kenya?
Yes.
Okay, so it's like 5,000 feet or whatever up in the big plateau. It's up high, so it's always usually pretty good weather. Well, have you been to the Rift Valley?
No.
It's the valley below it where you drive down.
Okay.
And it goes down to sea level, and it's a completely different world. And so we're looking for this climbing area down in the Rift Valley. So we have these directions, but they're terrible, right? And there's these dirt roads, and we're lost. We're driving this road and that road. We don't know what's going on, And I got this Kenyan, two Kenyans, and we hooked up with, I think he was either from Spain, I can't remember, Spain or Italy, this guy. Yeah. And he's over there on a climbing trip. So we're all hooked up to go climbing. And we come down this road, and as we're coming down this dirt road, coming down the other side of the hill is this Humvee, military Humvee with two military transport trucks. Those trucks, with
big ones,
the canvas, and all the soldiers in the back. Well, we're here, and they're here. We stop, right? And here's this military convoy.
Not good.
Right? So this Italian or Spanish guy here just starts hyperventilating, starts freaking out. The other two Kenyans are like, uh-oh. So we're sitting there, and all of a sudden the doors of the Humvee open, right? And this guy gets out with his uniform with all these badges, and then all the soldiers jump out of the thing, and all these guys with these guns and stuff. And at this point, I think the guy's ready to have a heart attack. He thinks he's going to die. He's going to get shot down. So the guy gets out, and so I said, okay. So I open up the door, and I jump out of the car, and I just walk towards him, right? And he's walking. Next thing I know, there's a couple soldiers and all the other soldiers, and there's this guy, and he was a colonel of the Kenyan military.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And over there, because it's a British colony, they speak English. It's a British accent. So it's, hey, what are you doing here? Right, so I answered him. He goes, oh, where are you from? Because he recognized my accent. Oh, I'm from Texas. Oh, Texas, George Bush, blah, 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 all this stuff. and so we're starting to have this conversation, and he's like, he was a nice guy, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, you guys lost? What's going on? And I'm saying, well, we're rock climbers.
Obviously.
We're having this conversation. We're rock climbers. We're trying to find this wall. We don't know where it's at. We're lost. And so the guys in the car are watching this, through the front windshield like a movie theater, right? They're just watching me out there, 50 feet in front of this talking, having no what's going on. They have no idea. At this point, the Italian guy is like crying.
Yeah.
Like he's crying, right? Because he thinks he's going to die.
Carl's going to die. And then
they're going to shoot me. They're going to come in and shoot everybody in the car, and we're all going to die. And so I'm talking to this guy, and the guy's, oh, I know where that wall is. It's a shooting range, right? And we're going over target practicing, and we can, you can follow us and we'll show you right where it is. And this is the colonel, right? Oh, that's great. He goes, I tell you what, because, I like to gab and I talk and I'll meet anybody, right? So I'm talking, we're just talking away, smiling, having a good time. He goes, I'll drive with you. All right. So he walks in, so we both start heading back. And at this point, the guy in the back is like, he just doesn't know what's happening in his life.
He's planning
right?
his funeral.
He's just planning his funeral, And so he gets in. So I tell him, hey, get in the back. He's going to ride with us. And they just don't know what to think.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, the colonel gets in the car, front seat. We take off. The Humvee and the trucks follow us, and he's driving us to the wall to the hunting range. And we're just talking back. They didn't say a word. They were just like, man, they were just totally silent. Chatted all the way. He goes up, and sure enough, came around a corner, and there's this big old wall right there. He goes, here it is. Shook hands. He gets out, jumps his Humvee, and they drove off. Crazy.
That's crazy.
Out of the middle of nowhere in the Rift Valley. And this place is like, there's nothing out there. I'm telling you.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
And that was quite the experience.
Quite the experience, which ironically ties back to finding faith and the right guide in life and journey and that kind of thing, because all of us we're wandering through life. Where's the map? Where's the place? Where, and all of a sudden it seems like a chance meeting, but you meet someone who says, hey, where are you headed? Well, and I really enjoyed our conversation at a coffee shop recently where it's like, hey, Karl, where are you going? Well, man, I got a great wife. She's always praying for me and she's always telling me, but I'm telling Jesus to go over there because I'm doing this. But man, I've had a lot of success in my life. And man, I got this great group of men and they've really changed my life because they've started to nudge me on a journey and say, Karl, you should go to church. You should read the Bible. And speaking of Bibles, my brother who struggled with drugs and that kind of thing made sure I had his. And like you said, all of those things start clicking, almost like a conversation with a colonel in the middle of Nairobi in Kenya. And it's like, and Jesus looks at Karl and goes, hey, can I get in with you? And Karl goes, man, I've needed you my whole life.
Yeah.
And then boom.
Yeah, it was incredible, and it's like I can't, all these things. I always having this stuff happening in my life.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I attract it. People say, "Oh, you must attract it," and all my friends say, "Oh, your life's amazing. You travel over the world." And it's like, and I'm like, God has put me on a path. I know it.
Yeah.
But He's not done with me. There's something. Because, I'm 63 years old and I'm super hyper and I don't
There's
stop.
no way anybody would guess you're 63.
Yeah, and I just don't, I climb, and I've been doing extreme sports all my life.
Well, I definitely want to make sure that the listeners hear what you just said. God's not done with me. I'm on a path. And that's really true for all of us. What difference has it made being in community with men who, you said, that's really, changed my trajectory to be with men who have faith. And, I know that right before the podcast, you were with a group of men at Real Life Church. But also, what does it mean? Like you said, like you and your daughter are leaning in, reading the Bible. Like, how is that?
The men's group,
Karl?
The men's group is making me to be a better husband. The men's group's making me to be a better father. And making me responsible for keeping my family in the faith, especially with my daughter. And I've been doing a lot of trying to get her in the faith, and she's really excited. And so she loves God. Did I show you that note she did? I found on her desk. I got it somewhere. I have a picture of it on my phone.
Yeah.
But I was just in her room, and we found this note, and it says, "Dear God, I love you. And I love Jesus Christ," and she signed her name and just wrote this and had it on her desk.
Wow.
Almost put me to tears.
For sure. Well,
it was intense. It was like, whoa. But and that would another sign.
Another sign.
It's just another sign. And I'm getting a lot of these right now. And it's just like, especially at your church, like I swear to God, I feel like you're, keep hitting me upside the head with a 2x4. And yep, this is for you, Karl. This is for you, Karl. And I'm like,
didn't know I had one of these microphones in your house.
No, it's like, whoa. It's just like every time I go, just something jumps out at me, and it's great.
Yeah, and really, if it's anything good, it's God, and He's the same one that's been nudging your whole life. But when you really turn around and tune in to listen, it's amazing what you hear, what you see, and thanks for sharing that about your daughter.
Yeah.
A little note here. It's like, but why did she write that note? Because her dad is leaning in, and I like what you said. When you're with other people who are in, it's like, we've talked about this. Who's on that climb with you matters. So these men are making me a better dad, a better husband, a more intentional man. And I still have the adventure. I still love the extreme things.
Yeah.
But the adventure is it's almost like it's in full color now, because now that I realize there's no accidents, that everything's on purpose, I can't wait to see what's around the next bend and the next opportunity, the next path, because he's the one that's guiding me on that. And so, Karl, thanks so much for sharing your life, your heart, and just some of your story, and how all of us, I think, hopefully we can look back and see the same intersections of the same loving God who's very patient with us. We're all thankful for that. And hopefully today, through this season, this episode, we can all get to thank God ledge.
Everybody needs to get to thank God ledge.
And say, you know what? God, thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you that you got a path for me in the future. And thank you that you're with me right now today by grace, one step at a time. Karl, keep climbing. Everybody listening, keep climbing. And thanks for Karl for motivating all of us to stay on that path and make sure you've got the right guide. And just thank you for reminding us that at the end of the day, that's Jesus and he's with us. So you guys have a great one. We'll see you next time on Monday Motivation.